Hello and welcome to the Radical Podcast, inspired by the essence of the word radical, proceeding from the root. We explore the roots of metaphysical wisdom.
This season is all about divination, tarot, and the power held within our intuition. This is The Radical with Nicole and Christina, the two metaphysical girls in the material world. Hello and welcome to The Radical. I'm Nicole.
And I'm Christina.
Today, we are talking about the 5, 6, and 7 of Cups as part of our Scorpio tarot study. We have a lot of notes and a lot to say.
Yeah, we do.
Because there's Scorpio cards, there's a lot of depth and complexity. I think there's kind of like a surface level meaning, and then it can get really deep, which is very Scorpio.
Let me talk to you first about qualities, properties, and attributes. The cards are cups. The mantra for cups is I feel. It deals with the heart. It's intuitions, dreams, emotions, relationships, connections. For the card numbers, 5 can represent challenges and strife and storms. 6, gifts and good feelings, also the first bloom. And then 7 is uncanny good luck, synchronicity, and unexpected blossoming. The element is water. Cups is water. The zodiac sign is Scorpio, as Nicole mentioned. We're in Scorpio season. This is fixed water because the Scorpio season is in the heart of autumn. The planet associated is for Scorpio. It's Scorpio's planet, modern planet of Pluto, and classic planet of Mars. There is an element of a fire element in Scorpio, along with the water element. The house is the 8th house. The mantra of the 8th house is I desire. Transformation, the house of transformation. This house, as I said, is in the middle of its section. It's the heart of autumn. It's fixed water, and the house is ruled by the King of Cups. Because if you remember, the cardinal houses are ruled by the queens, and the fixed houses are ruled by the kings. For chakras, the 5 of Cups, primarily heart chakra, because as we know, grief lives in the lungs and is associated with the heart. The 6 of Cups, I have heart and root because we're going to be talking about some of the key themes with the 6 of Cups. And the 7 of Cups, heart and third eye, because there's an element of choices, illusion, and imagination. I'm just going to go over a couple symbols very generally. There's a lot more symbols in these cards than these few. And I'm sure Nicole and I are going to talk about them more when we get into card comparison. But one of the key symbols in the 5 of Cups for me is the bridge, which stands for your choice to stay or to move forward. In the 6 of Cups, you look at the Rider Waite Smith deck. The 2 children are in a courtyard. There's a house and a castle behind them. And those castle walls or those house walls or that enclosed garden stands for protection. It's a safe and secure area. Also for the 6 of Cups, there's an element of roots and underground, which stands for memories or can stand for memories. And another image for the 7 of Cups are the clouds, and that's imagination. Or illusion, but I like imagination. And Nicole mentioned the theme of these cups as within their part of the hero's journey for the journey of the cups from the ace to the king or to the 10. The 5, 6, 7 is in the middle. Okay, this is whenever you watch a movie, there's this element of sometime between the second act and the third act, there's some sort of crisis, or there's some sort of conflict, or there's some sort of misunderstanding. But then the storytelling has got to get us back into the flow. So then generally after that, there's some kind of gift or some kind of boon or some kind of luck that happens. And then after that happens to that main character, which is us most of the time, then they have a choice. They have a choice of what path, what road they're going to take on. So that's the 5, 6, 7. The 5 could be your low point, the 6 is your gift, and the 7 is your choice. But also within these these cups right here in the middle of this emotional journey, this watery journey, is you've been working hard still, but you can't quite see the end. And you don't have any results yet of your hard work. That's when we have these main themes of disappointment, these main themes of depression, and then the luck, the gift, the memories that bring you back to who you are or what your purpose is or what your goal is. And then ultimately, that's 7 of Cups. We choose how we move forward after that. The history, the suit of cups is the suit of hearts in our playing decks. And they were chalices, goblets, and really ornate vessels in some of the older playing cards and the older tarot cards. But it was also associated with courtly love and emotion.
So I have our deck and chart. 5 of Cups. Crowley's hermetic title for this card is the Lord of Disappointment.
That's
Makes sense.
Yeah. Yep.
This is for Scorpio 1, the first 10 degrees of Scorpio season. All 3 of these cards are going to correspond to the Death card, which we talked about 2 episodes ago.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is the Major Arcana card for Scorpio. Mars rules this decan, and Mars is at home traditionally in Scorpio. Mm-hmm. We'll talk more about Mars. Christina mentioned the element of fire coming into play, and I have some really interesting notes about that in just a moment. And because Mars rules this decan, the corresponding major card there is the Tower. I've heard the 5 of Cups referred to as a mini tower card.
Oh. Okay.
6 of Cups, the Lord of Pleasure. This is the second Scorpio decan, starting at 10 degrees of Scorpio. The planetary ruler is the Sun, and so the corresponding major arcana card is the Sun. 7 of Cups, the Lord of Debauch. This is the third Scorpio decan, starting at 20 degrees of Scorpio. And the planetary ruler is Venus, and Venus is in her detriment in Scorpio. And with Venus, we get the corresponding card of the Empress. So, in my 36 Secrets book, T. Susan Chang writes, "Why does Mars matter so much for the 5 of Cups?" She says, "No other card in our 36 card stroll through the decans expresses a planet as powerfully for 3 reasons. The 5 of Cups is of the sign of Scorpio, whose traditional ruler is Mars. Mm-hmm. The 5 of Cups corresponds with the first decan of Scorpio, whose ruler is also Mars. All 5s in the tarot correspond to the Sephra Jabura on the Tree of Life, and the planet of Jabura is Mars. So we have all this Mars energy converging on the 5 of Cups. And Mars energy is this kind of fearsome suddenness. And that is, this book argues, what makes the Tower card so scary and frightening is that element of suddenness. Mm-hmm. So we get a little hint of that, or a big hint of that, in the 5 of Cups, aka the little tower. Okay, looking for the story. In these 3 cards, what I started to think about was this book called The Unexpected Gift of Trauma. I have not read it yet. It's on my bookshelf. But the cover of this book looks like a Japanese style of art that we've talked about on here before called kintsugi.
Yeah.
Where broken pottery is repaired with gold, making it actually stronger than it was before. So that's a really beautiful metaphor for this process, right? Going through something like a tower moment, something traumatic, something that causes us grief, and then coming out the other side repaired and stronger for it. In my guided tarot book for the 5 of Cups, the author says the grieving process is necessary for you to move into your next emotional phase of life. In the 6 of Cups, T. Susan Chang writes, the sun, which is the ruler of this decan for the 6 of Cups, the sun is like an alchemical transformation. She writes, this solar redemption cycle always reminds me of the Japanese art of kintsugi. And in the 7 of Cups, Christina mentioned she prefers looking at it as imagination instead of illusion. Because of its title, The Lord of Debauch, there is this sense of like excessive indulgence. I wrote some decanical interpretations like I always do. The 5 of Cups, you could think of the sting of Scorpio and the shock of Mars. In the 6 of Cups, the resilience of Scorpio and the vitality of the sun. And the 7 of Cups, because we're working with detriment energy, with Venus being in her detriment in Scorpio, I looked at the shadow elements for this one. So the possessiveness of Scorpio's shadow and the overindulgence of Venus's shadow. In my Zodiac Tarot, very much like the Rider Waite Smith deck, we have a cloaked figure, tearfully mourning, 3 spilled chalices, and the 2 upright chalices are full of water, but behind him, and he's not focused on them at all. We have green grass, green being a color used to symbolize healing. And there's an element of protection. I kind of feel like that's depicted in this card because of the eyes on the cloak being worn by this figure. I know it's not exactly the left eye of Horus, but that's kind of what it made me think of. And that is considered, the left eye of Horus, a powerful amulet for protection and healing. So in my Medicine Woman Tarot, I'm going out on a limb here. This story in these cards, I'm taking as a very romantic interpretation, like a romantic relationship where there's been some kind of abandonment or separation. We have 2 figures. One figure is more in the foreground, and this person's holding a bowl, almost in like an offering type stance, towards a figure in the distance, walking away down this path that's kind of like through water almost. So there's somebody leaving somebody else in this card.
I can see it.
Yes.
I can see it.
In my Antique Anatomy Tarot, there are 5 bottles of medicine that we can see, but we can't see the details of all of them. 2 of the labels are obscured by flowers, but we can read 3 of them, and they say morphine, cyanide, and passion tincture.
Yikes.
I know. Quite a wide-ranging um, medicine cabinet. And we see all blue flowers. So one thing I'm noticing with this deck is she uses the colors of the flowers in these 3 card series to tell us more about what's happening energetically. So we have blue flowers representing sadness and grief, and all the flowers are blue.
Mm-hmm.
And in our Mystic Mondays deck, there are what look like to be 5 kind of wine glass style cups on their side. I'm getting like yin and yang style vibes for the 6 of cups in the Zodiac Tarot. You're going to laugh at me, but this card brought tears to my eyes. I was very emotional this week doing my notes. So what I wrote down on my page here is that in one of my books, and I'm thinking it was 36 Secrets, but I can't quite remember, there was this bit that I read that the 6 of Cups is perhaps more about the memory of receiving and that memory of feeling love and joy. And so in the Zodiac Tarot, there's a young girl receiving a cup from an older boy, and I'm assuming he's older because he's bigger. And what's so sweet about it is her gaze is not at the cup, but it's at him. And if you look at her little hand, she's reaching out not to touch the cup and receive the cup, but her hand is reaching out and touching his hand.
Aw.
It was just so tender and innocent and heartfelt. So that to me really picked up on this idea of the memory of receiving. In my Zodiac Tarot guidebook for this card, she writes, Scorpio tends to preserve what it knows is valuable. And I feel like this card is saying what's special to her is this memory of this boy giving her the cup than the cup itself. But the cup will probably be really special to her because of who gave it to her. So it was really sweet. I really enjoyed the little details on that card. All right, so in the Medicine Woman Tarot, we go from somebody leaving somebody else to the figure who was offering the bowl sitting alone, and there's sort of this ethereal image of I'm assuming the person who left, like her face across his chest, across his heart area.
Oh.
And he's making some kind of flowered necklace. In the background, there's 2 dolphins. Dolphins can symbolize healing and protection. And there's the sun in the background, either rising or setting over a body of water. And the sun rules this decan. So we have the sun influence there. This could be sort of like a rekindling of romantic memories. The 6 of Cups does have to do with nostalgia. So we kind of see that here. In the Antique Anatomy Tarot, we have 6 bottles of medicine again. There's less obscurity, perhaps the influence of the sun. And they all say what they're for. And they are for rekindling love, past life regression, uncovering secrets, encouraging comfort, and promoting harmony. There's only one that we can't read, but we can see that all of them say, take 1 teaspoon only. So there's this idea of not overindulging in the nostalgia. And the flowers are half and half, blue and pink, pink representing compassion and sweetness. And in our Mystic Mondays deck, there's this sense of harmony, flow, and warmth. The colors are really warm. We have sort of peach and pink and yellow on the cards. I think because the colors are so warm, we get the sense that the sun is being depicted. And it's just a really pleasant card to look at. Okay, Seven of Cups. Zodiac Tarot looks very much like the Rider Waite Smith deck. It does seem to be that the artist chose to kind of highlight or draw extra attention to the card that is quote unquote shrouded in mystery in the Medicine Woman Tarot. To kind of end that story, we see, I'm assuming, it's the couple that we saw in the Five of Cups. They are now, I think, skinny dipping in the ocean. They're kind of embracing, they look really happy. But something that I'm noticing in this deck is there's usually like a circle with some stuff going on, and then stuff going on either in front of or underneath the circle. And I'm getting this sense that like the circle is kind of like the imaginative space, and the space below the circle in this card is like real life, like what's grounded in reality. And there's not really much going on in the real world in this card. It's almost like being totally swept away in like your imagination and reliving the past and romanticizing it, idealizing it, and kind of maybe losing touch with what really happened. You know, if your relationship ended because this person left you and now you have this idealized memory that maybe is problematic. So that's kind of how I read this story in this deck.
Well, I think it's the same. The character, one of them has black hair and one of them has like red or brown hair. So I believe that that's the character from the Five of Cups is the same one in the Seven of Cups.
I think so too.
But if I didn't get these cards in order, I wonder if what I would be thinking this card was telling me.
Yeah. It is a little, it does help looking at the three in a series to get more meaning.
It's thematic.
Yes.
It like once you're aware of the themes, now I could see them separately. But if I didn't look at them the way we're looking at them now, I wonder how I would feel about that deck. I don't know if I would understand it if I didn't look at it as a story.
Yeah, for sure. In the Antique Anatomy Tarot, there's another theme of medicine bottles, medicine vials going on. We have 7 tubes, 7 different elixirs. All the flowers are now pink. There are no more blue flowers. So kind of the sadness and the grief have been replaced with the sweetness of the pink flowers. All 7 vials say, take one and do not mix. So in the 6, it's saying like take 1 teaspoon only. And in the 7, we're getting the additional warning of don't mix them together. There's still some obscuring of the vials and their labels by the flowers. And this could be because we're in the water element. Things get kind of murky. And in the Mystic Mondays tarot deck, the main difference between this card and the Rider Waite Smith deck is we don't have the cloaked kind of shadowy figure looking at what's being offered. And it kind of looks like each cup is like, instead of it being on a cloud, sort of in like a dream like bubble, like its own little aura bubble. But the cup's contents are largely or symbolically the same. So yeah, that was all the cards from my decks.
I enjoy going through these cards so much. It helps so much, and also makes me ask so many more questions. For my cards, starting with the Five of Cups, starting with the Spirit Song, the author calls this the Five of Shells. They chose the firefly as the spirit animal, and the keywords were hope and readjustment. Firefly is spiritually, the spiritual symbolism of fireflies can be hope, light in the darkness, guidance, transformation, and growth. There's also an element of love and magic and inner illumination with fireflies, but different cultures have different viewpoints on fireflies. Some cultures see them as bad luck. I have fireflies at my house during the summer, and I thought, how do fireflies, how do they light up? It's bioluminescence. I'm going to talk a little bit about the reaction of why fireflies light up. The main ingredients are luciferin, luciferase, and oxygen. A little bit of ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate, and magnesium. This little insect has all of these elements within itself. The luciferin, along with the ATP, combines to form an activated molecule. When oxygen enters into the space, into the firefly's light organ, it reacts with this activated molecule. And the firefly can regulate the oxygen moving in and out of this organ, and that's how it causes the pulses or the pattern of its light. The reaction between those elements creates a new chemical, oxyluciferin, and releases energy in the form of light. And it's a cold light.
Wow.
It's a very, very, very efficient light. The process is it loses little energy as heat. It's an efficient light. Nature is amazing. The firefly for the Five of Cups. For the Wild Unknown Tarot deck, the author calls it the Five of Cups. Keywords are grief and disappointment. This card is black and white, no color. The top half of the card is light. The 5 cups are along the top part of the card. There is a horse's neck and head with downcast eyes looking down into the bottom half of the card, which is black. The cups are there. The horse is looking down. There's the element of if the horse looked up, it would see the light and it would see the cups. But the horse isn't. The horse is looking down. In The Secrets of the Witch's Garden, 5 of Cups, key word is depression. This card mirrors the Rider Waite Smith card as well. There's a witch standing in a blue dress on the bleak side of a river. On the side she's standing on, the grass is gray, the trees are barren, but in the distance there's a bridge, and the house with the little smoke coming out of the chimney and with growth and light around it is on the other side of the bridge. The 3 cups are spilled in front of her, 2 cups behind her, and this card is about choices, right? She must choose to cross the bridge. She must walk away from the spilled cups. She needs to look at the other cups and choose to fill them with what she wants. And in the Sacred She, it's the 5 card, disappointment. There's a crescent moon at the top of the card. Most of the background is calm water, and there's a dark-haired figure in the center wrapped in a pale cloth. Eyes are downcast. The card is very blue. There is an iridescence and a little bit of shadow light on the character, but behind the character, to the bottom left of the card, is a glowing white blooming lotus flower. The character's just not looking at it. It's behind them. They don't see it. And then I looked at the card again after I looked at the lotus, and I saw On the horizon of the sky and the water, there's sunlight. So is that, to me, I'm like, the sun is rising. That was my first impulse, but you may see that and see it as the sun is set. It's all in how you read the card and where the card falls in your reading. But similar imagery and themes in that card with the other cards, other 5 of cards. 5 of cups. 5 of cards. 5 of cups. Okay, for the 6 of cups, in the Spirit Song Tarot is 6 of shells, and the author chose the otter. The 2 keywords are sentiment and joy. The author says, otter swims in the simplicity of innocent joy to soothe her soul, moving with childlike energy. Otters, as a spiritual animal, generally represent playfulness, joy, and emotional balance. I often think of otters as family units. And then I saw in one of my searches that an otter as a totem animal or an otter as a power animal, to use the otter energy when you need to reunite your family or you need to bring together family. And that is not just blood family, that's also our chosen family. For the wild unknown, the 6 of cups, keywords are memories, childhood, and joy. The card shows a tree, the top half, and the card is divided in the middle. The top half of the card is the top of the tree, and the tree is a beautiful triangle shape. The bottom half of the card shows the tree's roots, and the tree's roots are highlighted and illuminated with red, green, yellow, and orange all over the roots. When you look at the card, your eyes are drawn to the roots. And here the roots representing connection, memories, and the past, essentially, or what in that sense of what we are built on, like the roots, like what has rooted us. And the author in that guidebook wrote, the roots of years past are alight with color and vibrancy. And there is color on that card. It immediately draws your eyes to the roots of the tree. In the Secrets of the Witch's Garden, the 6 of cups, the keyword is gift. On the card, there are 2 little fairies. They're underground, and there's roots of like turnips and garden vegetables, essentially garden vegetables, and tunneling little bugs. There's 6 cups down there with them, and the cups are full of flowers, and they're like luminescent. There's like glowing, floating lights. Maybe those are like little fireflies flying around the cups. And one cup is being given from one fairy to the other fairy. It's a very, and I want to say that this is a very like cultivated garden underground. It doesn't feel wild to me. It feels like it's their space. It's their garden. The author said something really interesting about the wormholes. So the worms connecting and digging through the underground of memories and connecting to other ones. And in space, there's this term for wormholes and traveling through time and space, right? So then that was like, oh, but also the roots connect us. Wormholes connect us. Memories connect us. Nicole, you and I share very specific memories, and that will forever connect us because we've had that past. And it doesn't have to be a lot. We could have collective unconscious memories, just being born the same time, just being born in the same year with other people. We have similar memories. We have similar connections. And that thought became clearer to me when I looked at that card and I thought about that card. And then I read what the author wrote there. Interesting point of view on that, because the previous card followed the Rider Waite Smith deck very closely. And then this one, not following it closely at all. And the author wanted to get a different theme across. That's the beauty of multiple tarot cards, listeners, is that you often get surprised and you get different points of view.
One of my favorite movies of all time is Interstellar.
Yes,
And
yes.
they travel through a wormhole. They're looking for a new planet, and they are coming back through the wormhole. And I don't remember the quote exactly. Maybe I'll put it in the Substack if I can find it. But basically, Anne Hathaway's character says that the only thing that can transcend time and space is love.
Yes. That is the first thing that comes to mind. And if you can find her little, or I mean, I say little, but I'm sure like it's several lines of monologue on why love is just as important as any of the other driving forces as we're moving around looking for each other, that love is a real emotion, that love is drawing her to this. And why is that wrong? Why can't we follow love as our guide? Yes. See, same. Another root connection between the two of us. And then the Sacred She for 6, the author has called this card Passion. In the card is all blue, shades of blue, dark blue, and a beautiful light blue. There's a couple intertwined in a deep embrace, and they are within a sea of flowing currents, swirls, and bubbles. Passion. It made me do a little side research on other interpretations of the 6 of Cups, because it seems like this card took a turn in a different direction than what we were talking about. And within the Thoth tradition cards, there that is one of the major ones that has assigned pleasure as the key meaning of this card. Another interesting point with Thoth, I found another wonderful website on another author's points of view on the tarot cards, and I looked a little deeper into the pleasure theme of the 6 of Cups, and it didn't delve into like, oh, carnal pleasure, which I think of when I see this card, but in the pleasure of things, particularly collecting antiques, because it's nostalgia.
Oh, yeah.
So that's 2 new layers to this card, listeners. File it away or follow that white rabbit down that down that rabbit hole and find out more. For the 7 of Cups, for the spirit song, it's called the 7 of Shells. The animal is the lobster, and the 2 keywords are choice and ambitions. I did a search on lobsters as spirit animals, and it has a lot to do with lobsters in the transformative sense because they molt and change their shells. What first came to mind was the Moon tarot card, where there's a lobster, crayfish, crab crawling out of the water. That is where I went with this card. Is the animal that lives underground emerging is like messages from the subconscious rising to the surface. The lobster itself, listeners, you can pursue that and see if that helps you understand this card better in the way that you need to understand it. Moving on to the wild unknown, 7 of Cups, illusion and deception. The crescent moon is at the top of this card, and the sun is at the bottom of this card, which to me means that the subconscious is at the top and the conscious is at the bottom. Again, subconscious rising up. The cups are floating in the middle of the card, and up towards the crescent moon, they're jagged cliffs. They have a little bit of a blue outline to them. And the 7 of Cups in the secrets of the witch's garden, the keyword is possibility. In this card, a witch is sitting in her potter shed. She has a lavender plant in the palm of her hand, in her palm chakra. the chakras of manifestation. And she is contemplating 7 cups full of possibilities placed in the window, on the shelves in her window. And this card, Nicole, I don't know if you can see, the illustrator has put the planet symbol on the cup so that we can tie the planet with the major arcana card. And then it'll make sense starting at the top. That is Saturn, and the wreath is there for the world, for victory and accomplishment. For Venus, there is a divine feminine coming out of that cup, and that's tied to the Empress for divine feminine and creativity. For the next one, that is Mercury symbol on it. That's tied to the Magician. The image is the snake coming out of there. We remember the snake belt and the magic and the manifestation. The one next to that, there's a moon tied to the High Priestess for wisdom and intuition. The sun has the dragon, and that's the Sun Tarot card for life force and vitality. Mars is the one that has the castle. And castles and buildings represent protection and boundaries. And that's very Mars. And that's tied to the Emperor. And then Jupiter, the one at the bottom with the Jupiter symbol on it, tied to the Wheel of Fortune. And in that cup are symbols of wealth and success. That card made things a lot clearer for me. And if I could walk into any card, it would be that card. I want to sit across the table from her and plant lavender together and contemplate those cups and see what we wanted to manifest for that moon cycle, or for that season.
I like that 7 of Cups.
But I like the it made the cups clear to me, and tying it to the tarot really made me understand the archetypes, and like the major archetypes of the cups and the major archetypes of like the hero's journey. I like that a lot. And then the 7 of Cups for the sacred she. The figure in this card is wearing a robe, and I think it's the same kind of material as the figure in the 5 of Cups. Now, the material in the 5 of Cups has a little more flowers in it, and the one in the 7 of Cups is a little more flowy, but they're both like this iridescent pale color. And in my head, it's the same character. Has overcome their disappointment and is now moved on to choices. The figure is contemplating 7 hats that are suspended in the clouds before them. Now, isn't this a fun interpretation? Because I know most of us have heard this, listeners, that you're putting on your student hat, or you're putting on your travel hat, or you're putting on your mom hat, or you're putting on your work hat. That in our culture, the wearing of a hat is like the changing of your role in that moment. And we wear different hats throughout the day and at different points of our lives. But what I really like about this hat is that you can take it off, that you can change your mind, that you can wear this hat, use that energy as you need it, and then put on the other hat when it's time to do something else, when it's time to shift your energy. I think that is just it's like a really cool view on a representation of how we make choices in the energy that we're looking for and what we're trying to manifest.
It's like taking the pressure off of making a choice because you're not committing to that and only that. You're making a choice in the moment, and then you get to change out your hat.
Yeah. That is so cool. And the hats are a cowboy hat, a chef hat. Those are occupations. There's a Disney hat for playfulness and childhood. There's the queen crown when you need to be the queen, and then when you need to be a warrior, and when you need to be laid back, and then the halo for when you need to be maybe just a good shining example of like your best positive energy. That's a fun card. Yeah. 7 of Cups. I know that it is Venus in Scorpio, which is a detriment. And I know that there's a lot of disillusionment here, and there's a lot of like excessiveness in choices. And yeah, you can't live in your head. And yeah, you shouldn't focus too much on wanting or manifesting or doing all the things. But for a period of time, it's nice to really think about what you really could do. You don't want to live there, but this is a really good place to visit, to really think about different possibilities.
Okay, so to wrap it up, 5, 6, and 7 of Cups, we have self pity, disillusionment with the 5 of Cups, but also we can ask ourselves, is it really as bad as it seems? There is definitely grief, but there could also be pessimism and doom and gloom thinking, because although we've lost something, something does remain, because there are 2 cups that are not knocked over. And like Christina mentioned, there is a bridge. So we always have a way out. We always have a choice. The 6 of Cups, we have nostalgia, memories. A lot of interpretations say childlike wonder, playfulness, joy, contentment, bliss, and harmony. There's a really beautiful card from the Lightseers Tarot that I found online. I don't own this deck, but it made me cry. It's a picture of a young boy with his puppy. And then the 6 cups are like stepping stones to where they are now. And the dog is grown up, and the boy is now a grown man. And it was sort of like my Zodiac Tarot 6 of Cups, like just the sweetness in it. And in the Lightseer's guidebook, she writes that the 6 of Cups can convey the themes of our life. And that was
Oh,
a really beautiful phrase. And to me, this card can mean not regretting anything that happened to us along the way. So we have the 5 of Cups moments, we have the sweetness in the 6 of Cups. All of those moments in totality have placed us where we are today. And that's
mm-hmm.
exactly where we need to be. I wrote that when we combine the Scorpio and the Sun, it's bringing together the mortality of Scorpio's death card with the joy of the Sun. So it's both.
And that's that nostalgia. That's that
Mhm.
memories. That's looking
Bittersweet.
back. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
7 of Cups, we have, to me, there's so much going on here. And I said it earlier, so many directions, but we have illusion, daydreaming, fantasies, delusion, imagination, distortion, choices, greed, lavishing.
Mm-hmm.
Does it broach into the hoarding territory? Maybe,
Oh.
maybe not. Um, One of my books said that the 7 of Cups reflect the different aspects of the unconscious trying to emerge. Meanwhile, the rational mind seeks to control, direct, and subliminate it. I
Mm.
think the card you had, Christina, where you said you were feeling things with like the moon on top and the sun at the bottom,
Yeah.
very much that degree or that aspect of the unconscious trying to
Mm-hmm.
emerge and trying to kind of be on top.
Mm-hmm.
I also thought it was worth considering the elements that are at play in this card. We have the water element from Scorpio and the earth element of Venus. So we have this formlessness with water and structure with earth. And they're trying to combine and lend their energetic elements to each other. But this is detriment energy. And water also has the potential to erode earth. When we stay in the imagination too long, our reality
Mm-hmm.
can erode.
Mm-hmm. We can't live there. We can
Exactly.
visit, but we can't live in our imagination.
In reverse, the Five of Cups could signal that we're allowing past trauma to form our identity. It could also convey silver linings, hope, recovery, and acceptance. The Six of Cups could be telling us, when in reverse, that we're clinging to the past, we're stuck in the past, or we're idealizing the past. We have those rose-colored glasses where kind of like that figure in the Medicine Woman Tarot who seems to be romanticizing and idealizing the past. It could also be signaling or calling us to forgive ourselves and others, particularly from our past. The Seven of Cups in reverse could be totally overwhelmed, unable to make a decision. Maybe we're feeling blocked, distracted, confused. A little bit of that analysis paralysis, which choice is correct. It could also mean that we have kind of this lasered focus, decisiveness, clarity. We know exactly what we want, and we're not getting caught up in the realm of imagination. It could also convey that sense of being overcommitted and underfulfilled. Like you're trying to wear all the hats, but you don't ever wear the hats long enough to really feel what it's like to be in that role. You're just kind of frantically throughout the day throwing them all on and off. And yeah.
In The Secret of the Witch's Garden, she has questions to write reversal cards. And for the Five of Cups, the question is, how can I fight for myself? I love that question so much for this card, and I felt it so deeply at various times. And what came to mind for me was our mental health. We have to be our own best friend when it comes to our mental health. We have to fight for ourselves. For the Six of Cups, how can I practice acceptance? And for the Seven of Cups, how can I cultivate focus? So those are some questions. These cards are reversed, or if they're challenging to you, or if they're resistant to you, try those questions out and see what comes forward.
I have 2 messages from the universe today. I'm using my Black Moon astrology cards by Susan Shepard, I think for the first time. They're very similar to the deck Christina used last week.
Gosh, I had so much fun with those cards. Nicole and I both figured out we had grand trines.
So card A or B, and the first card from this astrological deck is Jupiter, Abundance. When the energy of Jupiter enters your reading, you can be assured luck is on your side and fortune shines on you. You are being given not only a gift, but also a lift, if not divine help. Blocks are being removed as you wield influence through your own positivity and goodwill. This is certainly an astrological lucky break, but you won't be able to kick back and rest on your laurels. Instead, you will be required to attend to what you must set into place and keep the positivity and attention flowing. You must continue to nurture the energies to the projects or events you've started, otherwise they could fall into entropy or decay. When it comes to providence and fortune, there is always a payment due, some toil or sacrifice on your part, so do keep this in mind. You are on your way, just don't neglect things or become lax in your endeavors. Our second card is the 9th house. Faith. The corresponding tarot card for the 9th house is the 3 of Wands. Key ideas: media, publishing, long distance travel, education, divination, and astrology. Oh, how fun. We had Jupiter for the first card.
Yes.
And the 9th house in astrology is the house position for the sign Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter.
Yes.
Destiny, fate, and karma all come into play, as well as your view of what God may or may not be. It is the house of knowledge, higher learning, lawyers, doctors, and astrologers. It is most definitely of the higher mind and our need to unite with something greater. In this way, the ninth house represents churches and schools, especially ones that are old, established, and scholarly. The ninth house also represents esoteric matters like physics, physic fairs, the new age, counterculture, or places where offbeat people gather together for some visionary cause. It also represents the relevance of obtaining psychic information. The most mundane meaning behind the ninth house card is traveling to distant places. Usually, when this card appears, the reason is for knowledge or for broadening of understanding. There will be a desire to visit places of arcane wisdom and knowledge where you can expect the history behind the area to be very well documented. The journey will be an uncharted one of deep or mysterious exploration. There will be a longing to connect with something greater than the individual self. Thank you, universe.
Very Jupiter.
And next week, we are hanging out in Scorpio and talking about the Judgment card. So we will be back next week. And until then, listeners, thank you so much. We love you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode. The Radical Podcast is created and produced by Nicole and Christina.
Music by Van Horton. His Instagram is Van Horton Music. Stay in touch with us at linktr.ee/theradicalpodnc.